All right. 3, 2, and 1. We are live. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Tammy Workman-Lopez. My company is Sparks Hope, and I'm here with you today to just help spark that hope for you. I know there are so many folks who are living with loss and grief, I being one of them. And I'm doing a 12-week journey, and we are in our second week. And last week was so powerful. And this week, we're going to be talking about the same topic that I'm sharing with you today. And it was such an important topic that I wanted to share it as well with you guys. In the group, we're going to be going into extensive detail, but I wanted to give some of it to you because this is something everyone should have. This isn't just do a program. This is something that you want to be able to be mindful of and pay attention to with yourself and realize that in this experience of loss and grief, there's aspects of things that we are going to feel because we're human beings. It's absolutely normal and natural. But there's also things that we are creating that's making it worse. That's making it sometimes 100 times worse. And I don't want you to be stuck in that. When I was a little kid, from probably 0 all the way until I was just turned 15, life was very miserable. Like, to the point of I was terrified to come home from school every day. It was just, it really was just miserable. But from that, I want to share with you, and I didn't know this then, I know it now. Every day I was terrified to go home. Every day I was living in this state of panic. Every day I would go through this, oh my gosh, what's it going to be like? And I would feel the anxiety, I would feel the tension, I would feel not good enough. I would know I did something wrong. It was just very scary all the time. Now, here's the truth. The truth was, when I would go home, most days, my mother would be asleep. Most days. Other days, she'd be in her room with the door closed, watching TV, or sitting and crying, or sitting and thinking too much, or, just whatever it was that she did. But it didn't really create all that stress and strain that I was so terrified of. Now, probably 25% of those days, maybe 15%, maybe 20, I don't know, it seemed like a lot, but comparatively to 365 days, I suspect it was probably only 2 to 3 days a week that it was bad. And the rest was just slightly miserable. But it was those bad days that had me terrified every day. And sometimes those were straight on full bad days. But sometimes it was alleviated by going to school. So it was just in the morning time and it was just in the evening time. Now I say just, for a child, time is forever. Frickin' forever, right? So it did seem like that was all day, and it did seem like that was forever. However, it was not. And so I share that with you so you can get an idea to really sort of get where I was at, so I can give that same thing to you. When I was feeling that experience and I was believing that experience, and I believed that it was happening to me every single day, and I was terrified to go home every single day, I was creating that fear. I was creating that belief. I was knowing I was going to get hurt. I was knowing I was going to get punished. And so I want to share with you these stories, and this has happened with my clients, and it's happened in their past, and it's happened in their present, both in experiences that they had much like that, which had them feel like they lost their childhood. I myself also went through sexual abuse. So for a time, I thought I lost my innocence. I thought I was dirty. Those were beliefs. Those weren't just a thought I knew was wrong. It was a thought that I had that I believed to be true. And that's what creates our suffering. That's what creates our angst, much more than just the grief that we have. Now, when something like that happens, dang skippy, there's going to be grief. There's going to be loss. There's going to be this experience we've got to walk through, and that's normal. But we can allow ourselves to walk through it with the knowing, I don't need any blame or shame. If someone in my life has died, if I go through thoughts that say something like, and this might make me cry just because I'm inducing sad thoughts. I'm never going to see you again. I'm always going to be lost without you. I have nothing without you. You're my whole world. Like, even saying those thoughts makes me very sad, because that brings such emptiness, such pain. But what if I take that same experience and instead, and I can already feel it feeling better, instead, to those loved ones, I say, I'm so glad I had you. I'm so glad for every minute you were in my life. I realize I put all of my dependency on you. I realize I put all my life on you. And now, because you're in heaven, enjoying your life, living and experiencing such beauty, I realized I was only putting all of that on you. I've got to change that. I've got to bring other supports into my life. I've got to bring people that I can love and people that I can rely on, and not make one person my life. And I'll make sure I do that, because that's kind of a lot of heavy to put on one person too. And so notice, as I'm stepping into that, oh, I feel so much better. I feel so much more connected. I am now, and I'm thinking about my mom. I'm thinking about my grandma. I'm thinking about even the people who aren't dead, right? The people that are here on earth who are just not in a healthy relationship with me, so I can't speak to them. But I send them love. I send them prayers. I send gratitude for what we did have. It feels so much better. Yes, there's still an ache. There's still a sadness, because I do miss them. My body does want to hold them. I do want to talk to them, sure. But instead, I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to say, I love you. I miss you. I'm thinking of you today. I'm having you all around me today as I'm doing this. I'm going to do this in honor of you, because I know you would want to live life so much. I'm going to live this for you today. Do you feel that power? I can feel that power. Now it's happy tears that are wanting to come up. Crazy, right? You can laugh and cry all at the same time, because that's what grief can be for us. Grief can be an amazing experience of joy and sadness, whether it's loss over something that's happened in our life, or it's loss over a beautiful loved one. It's okay in either direction. It gives us that space to take our frequency from only heavy, only a sad, only a grieving, and they drop. The frequency you feel, it drops lower and lower. And this isn't bad. I'm not saying this lower like, oh, you're so low. I'm just saying you feel lower, you feel sadder and sadder and heavier. But instead of just living there and staying stuck there, you can allow yourself to also come up into your joy, even in that sad of loss. Oh, I'm so glad. I would not have changed my life, because I'm so glad of every minute I had you in it. If I could change my life and not have that loss, but meaning I wouldn't have you in it, I wouldn't do it, because I love it. I appreciate it. I'm so grateful for it, even with the sadness that comes up. And so as you find yourself practicing that and realizing that, you can allow yourself to see anytime that loss or that grief comes to mind, instead of just diving headfirst into all of those painful thoughts. And I'm not going to take myself there again, but you know what they sound like. But notice how I can choose not to take myself there again, or I can choose to go there. And if I want to, it's okay, but let it be a choice, and give yourself a time frame, because physically we can only handle that for so long. Just like working out, you can only work out for so long before you will hurt yourself. You can only be in intense grief before you really hurt yourself if you stay there. So give yourself a time frame. I'm going to cry for my loved one, and I'm not going to let myself stop. I'm going to just be in it, just be in it, just be in it, just be in it, just be in it. But I will stop after 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 or an hour. An hour is a really long time. So it's a good idea to give yourself a time chunk of it. Now, that might sound very strange to give yourself a time chunk of grieving, but giving yourself time to step out of it doesn't mean you're not thinking about that loved one, doesn't mean you're not thinking about that area of your life you want to work on and heal. It just means I went there and I can step out of it, still thinking about them, still loving them. And instead, I'm going to allow myself to think about the joys and think about the memories and think about the tears and think about who I am with them now and how they're with me and how compassionate and loving and powerful as a human being that I am, that I'm in all of these emotions. Every single emotion is here to help you. If you take a look at this and think about this, and I ask you, what's better, positive or negative emotions? You'll say, well, positive. What's healthier to only experience, positive or negative emotions? Trick question. Both. Yet we've been trained to think that negative is bad, and we block it and we cover it up with everything that we can, and we allow ourselves to only experience the good. Well, if this is blocked off, then we're really shutting ourselves from both, because we're shutting off our emotion, telling ourselves that part of us is bad and wrong. It's not. Each is a flow, but you're not constantly happy. You're not constantly excited. Even that's exhausting. You allow yourself to have the flow of emotion, positive and negative. And guys, because we've stacked so much on this and not allowing this, yes, there's stuff we've got to clean off. And that means we may be in some of these emotions that we thought we were over. And this story that we've told ourselves, I've already worked through that. I'm just fine. If it's coming up, then it's just a story. It's coming up and needs your attention. They're both healthy. They help the flow to flow through, just like a battery does. We are energy. We have our positive, we have our negative. They're both healthy for us. So I hope those analogies are helpful. I hope getting very clear on how we can create that excess grief and excess pain. And if we stay in it, how damaging that could be. I'm not saying turn it off. I will never not have grief over the abuse that I had. I will never not have some grief over not having the mom I wanted, right? Over not having the dad that I wanted, over my grandmother leaving when I was little, because she was the only one I felt safe with, over not feeling safe most of my life, and even working on it to today at 46. That stuff is sad. That's okay. That sadness tells me that I care about that person that I was. It doesn't mean that I'm recreating it, reliving it. When I share it with you, I'm staying very high, I'm chunking it up, so I'm not going into all the details. And so the same thing goes whenever I'm allowing myself to experience it. However, there are times when I will allow myself to just cry about something that may what's the button? Push a button, right? It may push that button of now, something's happening right now, and I want to cry about it, and that's okay. And it reminds me of something else. If somebody in my life dies, or somebody of a loved one dies, I'm grieving. And it may take a while. It may take the rest of your life. But you don't have to put yourself into suffering. You just let yourself have those moments, or many moments, of grief, but without the suffering, without beating yourself up with, I'm never going to see you again. I'm never going to hold you. Yes, those are true, but those thoughts are only causing more agony. Instead, I'm grieving and I miss you. Oh, I miss you so much. I'm sending you hugs and I'm sending you love and I'm sending prayers that God holds you while I can't. I'm sending gratitude that you are doing something and that's so much different and so much more beautiful than here. It's another level than here. And I'm so grateful for that for you. And for me, I need to give myself nurturing and I need to give myself care and compassion because my heart is hurting and I miss you. And then speaking into myself, you're doing such a great job. Yes, you miss me so much. I love you. You're such a good person. You're making such a difference in the world. And I'm glad that you're able to use these emotions to help other people. Realizing your emotions are just a guide to help you. I'm so proud of you. And whatever else that gets to sound like. And believe me, I did not used to be able to talk to myself like this. I didn't even used to like myself. I didn't want to look in the mirror. So this does take time. It does take work. And yes, I do have grief over all the years that I was disdaining myself, that I was judging myself, that I was hating myself. There's grief around that. But I've also created healing over those memories, over those experiences. So now when that grief thought comes up, I get to add, and I'm so glad that's no longer the experience. I'm so glad of being able to make these changes. I'm so proud of you. That little you that did this all by herself. I'm so proud of you. Get over here. And I imagine giving her a great big hug every age, all the way through till yesterday, because I forget to even acknowledge my yesterdays, right? So in that space of loss and grief, you can also create joy. And allowing yourself to really bring up that frequency. So I hope this has helped. I hope having you walk through these stories with me, having you understand what some of those beliefs could sound like, and what some of those increased sufferings can sound like, and how unintentionally we can use our past. We can use our past loved ones who were healthy, not healthy. We can use our past loved ones who are deceased and use them to hurt us. We don't even realize we're doing it. So allow yourself to notice, is your grief a beautiful grief, a connected grief, a grief that says, you're watching over me and I'm connected to you and you're here with me every day? And is it in beautiful thought and beautiful connection, bringing you to the high frequency where your loved one is at? Or is it taking you into pain and agony and suffering? And if you need help in either one, let me know. And if you need to reinforce one, if you need to help heal the other, if you want to take it to the next level, or if you want to start at the very beginning. This path for me was very hard. It was also very beautiful. And so I love to share these things. I love to get the information out there because who I was before suffered agony. I couldn't stand who I was. For 15 years of my life, I prayed to die. And that's sad. I want to grieve. I want to suffer in that ever again. Because I helped myself learn how to move out of it. And so I want to be able to help you do that too. So I hope you get some of that today. And if it sounds like anything you'd like to learn more about, let me know. You can reach me through message on the platform that you're in. You can reach me at my cell phone number, 954-657-3407. Text me, let me know what you're thinking. We can set up a time and we can create a breakthrough discovery call for you. And just help you to see what your next steps are. Where are you at? What would you like? What questions do you have? What tools can you use? All right, let's bring it in. I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for watching this and joining me and stepping in to give yourself that nurturing and care that you deserve and sharing it with others. You don't know this stuff. Just because you know it, you might think they do. Nope. I will talk to you soon. You take care of yourself. Ciao for now. And know that you're loved, whether you like it or not. Have a great week. And I will see you next week, Wednesday. If you have any questions or challenges, or you're like, oh, this is great, or oh, I hated it and I hate it because of this, then let's talk about it. Because it just means something's coming up that we get to go a little bit deeper into, and that will actually help give topic for next week.